Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was doing live, so I couldn't unmute.
I could understand. I could understand. Not a
Yes,
problem.
Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
So Hare Krishna, Prabhu is Mataji's. Thank you very much for joining and keeping the appointment with Krishna today. So today we'll be discussing from 4th canto, 9th chapter, verse number 51 and 52. So before starting, let us chant Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiram Vanachari Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव रमाई की जय नरसिंह भगवान की जय पंचतत्व की जय षड गोस्वामी की जय गुरु परंपरा की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय निताई गौर हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayana, unto Narana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. In loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So Hare Krishna Prabhu's Mother is again welcoming all of you for this wonderful, auspicious Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam session. So the two verses which we will be discussing are verse number 51 and 52 from 4th canto, 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. तां शशंसुर्जनाराज्ञीं दिष्ट्या ते पुत्र आर्तिः प्रतिलब्धश्चिरं नष्टो रक्षिता मण्डलं भुवः तां शशंसुर्जनाराज्ञीं दिष्ट्या ते पुत्र आर्तिः प्रतिलब्धश्चिरं नष्टो रक्षिता मण्डलं भुवः तां शशंसुर्जनाराज्ञीं दिष्ट्या ते पुत्र आर्तिः प्रतिलब्धश्चिरं नष्टो रक्षिता मण्डलं भुवः. One Prabhu and Mataji can recite. There is any Prabhu, I don't think so.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, shall I?
Yes, yes, yes.
सांस्य सांसुर्जनारज्ञिं दृष्ट्या ते पुत्र आर्तिः प्रतिलब्धा चिरं नष्टो रक्षिता मण्डलं भुवः. हरे कृष्ण.
Any one more Mataji can recite.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Yes, yes.
Carry on, Mataji. Carry on, please.
Carry on, Mataji. It's okay. Yeah, I will. Carry on, please.
Okay, thank you. तां शशंसुर्जनाराज्ञीं दिष्ट्या ते पुत्र आर्तिः प्रतिलब्धश्चिरं नष्टो रक्षिता मण्डलं भुवः. हरे कृष्णा. धन्यवाद प्रभु जी. धन्यवाद डॉक्टर माताजी.
Thank you. To synonyms word to word meaning. Tam unto Queen Suniti. Shashamsuhu offered praise. Janaha, the people in general. Ragim unto the queen. Dishtya by fortune. Te your putra son Artiha will vanquish all your pains. Pratilabdha now returned. Chiram since a long time. Nashtaha lost. Rakshita will protect. Mandalam the globe. Bhuvaha earthly. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The residents of the palace praised the queen. Dear queen, your beloved son was lost a long time ago, and it is a great fortune that he now has come back. It appears, therefore, that your son will be able to protect you for a very long time and will put an end to all your material pangs. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go to 52nd verse. Abhyarchitas tvaya nunam Bhagavan pranatartiha yadanudhyayino dhira mrityum jigyu sudurjayam abhyarchitas tvaya nunam Bhagavan pranatartiha yadanudhyayino dhira mrityum jigyu sudurjayam abhyarchitas tvaya nunam Bhagavan pranatartiha yad anudhyayino dhira mrityum jigyu sudurjayam. Any two of you can recite.
Hare Krishna. May I recite?
Yes, ma'am.
अभ्यर्चितस्त्वया नूनं भगवान् प्रणतार्तिः यदनुध्यायायिनो धीर मृत्युं जिज्ञुः सुदुर्जयम्.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
One more, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, madam.
अभ्यचिर्तस्त्वया नूनं भगवान् प्रणतार्तिहा यद् अनुध्यायिनो धीरा मृत्युं जिज्ञुः सुदुर्जयम्. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. The word to word meaning synonyms. Abhyarchitaha, worshipped. Tvaya, by you. Nunam, however. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pranata Artiha, who can deliver his devotees from the greatest danger. Yat, whom? Anudhyayinaha, constantly meditating upon. Dhiraha, great saintly persons. Mrityum, death. Jigyuhu, conquered. Sudurjaya, which is very, very difficult to overcome. Translation and purport by Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dear Queen, you must have worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who delivers his devotees from the greatest danger. Persons who constantly meditate upon him surpass the course of birth and death. This perfection is very difficult to achieve. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj was a lost child of Queen Suniti, but during his absence, she always meditated upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was able to rescue his devotee from all dangers. While Dhruva Maharaj was absent from his home, not only did he undergo severe austerities in the forest of Madhuvana, but at home also, his mother prayed to the Supreme Lord for his safety and good fortune. In other words, the Lord was worshipped by both the mother and the son, and both were able to achieve the supreme benediction from the Supreme Lord. The word Sudurjayam, an adjective which indicates that no one can conquer death, is very significant. When Dhruva Maharaj was away from his home, his father thought that he was dead. Ordinarily, a king's son, only 5 years old, and away from home in the forest, would certainly be supposed dead. But by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not only was he saved, but he was blessed with the highest perfection. Jai Shri Prabhupada, Translated Purport Ki Jai. Om Gyantvarandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Kadamahyam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutabadkamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagalanita Shri Vishaka Thamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjan Gaurangi Radhe Vanda Vaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yonta Pravishya Mamavacha Imam Prasuptam Sanjeevayate Klashakti Dharasvadamna Nanyam Chahasta Charana Shravanato Gadin Prana Namo Bhagavate Vishaya Tubhyam Ukam Karoti Pajaram Angam Nagekadin Mitra Patamamandu Namo Vishnu Krishna Krishna Bhutalisha Mahashya Sampinamri Namo Vishnu Krishna Mukti Vasana Yerusheshwar Vacha Krishna Yes, the Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita. So Hare Krishna Prabhu's Matajis. So very wonderful, two good verses from this beautiful chapter. Dhruva Maharaj leaves, returns home. This is the chapter entitled, right? See, when Dhruva Maharaj, when he was ordered to rule another 36,000 years with full facilities for sense enjoyment, he was doing it as a duty for the Supreme Lord for his pleasure. So in this way, even though Swayambhu Manu, Dhruva Maharaj, they were given the facilities for material enjoyment. But what they did not use it, they utilized it for the service of Krishna. So this way we can transcend the effects of time. So the motto is improve your relationship with time, get serious in the service of Krishna. Dhruva Maharaj became very regretful, right? Because initially he went for material achievements. Afterwards he became very regretful. And because he was regretful, he has become a devotee. A devotee always regrets that he is not up to the mark. A devotee never says, I am up to the mark. Then he is not a devotee. Devotee is always knowing that I am not up to the mark. I still have to improve. See, Krishna is so kind, that Krishna says, Dhruva Maharaj, don't worry. Whatever you wanted in the first place, I will give it to you, even if it is material. You will have the position of the pole star, Dhruva Loka. So even when see, Krishna says that, not only I will give you the Dhruva Loka, but I will personally expand and make sure that I will be there to always give you the protection. So this is very important. So now the point is, see, this Dhruva Loka is that part of the universe which is closest to the spiritual world. And the Lord is sitting there, taking care of his devotee even till now. Why? What is there about Dhruva that is so special for Krishna? He has three things. One was his resolute determination. He's very much determined, right? Even when Narada Muni said, no, it's not possible. Now you are going, a small boy. But his resolute determination. And his resolute determination was for what? That is the second one, to do devotional service. The first one was his resolute determination. The two, to do what? To do devotional service. And the third, he followed the instructions of first his mother and second Narada Muni. This is how we have to live in devotional service, right? We should have the determination to do devotional service and follow the instructions. See, we saw in the purport, the translation, the first 51st verse, where the residents of the palace, they praised the queen, right? They said, dear queen, your beloved son was lost a long time ago. And it is your great fortune that he now has come back. It appears, therefore, that your son will be able to protect you for a very long time and will put an end to all your material pangs. This word, material pangs, is very wonderful. We'll discuss more about this with this words, right? Material pangs. See, the whole world is in the blaze of material pangs. Threefold miseries. And a person who is authorized to deliver people from that material pangs, he is called the spiritual master. See, being elevated to heavenly planets or other material planets does not mean attaining an eternal life of knowledge and bliss. No. See, at the end of the material world, all attainments of material elevation will also end. So according to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 18.55, he says, only those who engage in his loving devotion service will be admitted to the spiritual world and return to Godhead, not others. So bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tad anantaram. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotion service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, they can enter into the kingdom of God. See, impersonalists, they cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, it is not possible for them to enter into the spiritual kingdom of God and return home back to Godhead. Actually, one attains different results by different means. It is not that all achievements are one and the same. See, those interested in the four principles of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha cannot be compared to those interested in the unallowed devotional service of the Lord. That's why Bhagavatam 1:1-2, the second verse in the first canto, says, Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikrite Kim va pareirishvarah Sadyordi avarudyate atra kritibihi Shushrushubi takshanat. The translation is very beautiful. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. See, completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth approves the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Sri Vyasadeva, is sufficient in itself for God realization. As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, he becomes attached to the Supreme Lord. So we should be attentive and submissive. So those who aspire after liberation, they attempt to merge into the impersonal Brahman. See, to this end, they execute ritualistic religious ceremonies, right? But Srimad Bhagavatam considers this as cheating process. See, such people can never dream of returning home, back to Godhead. Not at all possible. See, there is a gulf of difference between the goal of dharma, artha, kama, moksha and the goal of devotional service. See, Goddess Durga is the superintendent deity of this material world, which is made of material elements. The demigods, they are simply different directors engaged in operating the departments of material activities. And they are under the influence of the same material energy. Now, Krishna's internal potencies have nothing to do with the creation of this cosmic material world. The spiritual world and all the spiritual activities, they are under the direction of the internal spiritual energy of Krishna. And such activities are performed by Yoga Maya, the spiritual energy. So Yoga Maya is the spiritual or internal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, those who are interested in being promoted to the spiritual world and engaging in the service of the Lord, they attain spiritual perfection under the control of Yoga Maya, internal potency of Krishna. So those who are interested in material promotion, they engage in same, the ritualistic religious ceremonies, right? And economic development to develop what? Sense gratification. They ultimately attempt to emerge into this impersonal existence of the Lord, right? So such people generally become impersonalists. They are not interested in worshiping the Supreme Personality of God. See, in Srimad Bhagavatam, verse number 222, second canto, second chapter, second verse. Shukadeva Goswami very nicely says, the way of presentation of the Vedic sounds is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdoms. Now, the conditioned souls, they hover in dreams of such heavenly illusory pleasures. But actually, they do not relish any tangible happiness in such places. Not possible. And so in this verse 222, the word paribramams means wandering. See, when our intelligence is not steady, we deviate from the path of bhakti. Because our intelligence is not steady. And thereby what happens? We keep wandering in different places. Both in this life, and then we wander in different planets after death. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 2.41, Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekehe kuru nandana bahushaka yanantascha buddhayo avyavasayina. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. Oh, beloved child of the Kurus, intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched, completely deviated. They are not focused. And he further says in 2.42, men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, result in good birth, power, and so forth, right? So when our intelligence is not resolute, is irresolute, avipashita, what happens? We get carried away with the flowery words of the Vedas. The essence of all Vedas is Krishna. But since it carried us to the different grades of people in the society, we should not be carried away by karma kanda process or jnana kanda process specified in them. See, our idea of traveling to different planetary systems is to enjoy happiness. But Srila Prabhupada very nicely says in the purport, there are innumerable universes and also innumerable planets in each of them. But none of them is immune to the chief miseries of material existence, which are pangs of birth, pangs of death, pangs of old age, pangs of disease. So there is no use traveling to the heavenly planets. And Prabhupada also says, Srila Shukadeva Goswami affirms that Maharaj Parikshit, in the last stage of life, should not desire to transfer himself to the so-called heavenly planets, but should prepare himself for going back home, back to Godhead. See, none of the material planets, nor the amenities available there for living conditions, they are not everlasting. So one must have a factual reluctance to enjoy such temporary happiness, right? My Guru Maharaj says that pangs, we saw no material pangs. Pangs means pains, right? Pains which cannot be tolerated. Pangs is used to refer to the pain which mother undergoes when delivering the child. Labor pangs. See how wonderfully Prabhupada uses that to material pangs. See, for all these intolerable miseries, no, the only shelter is Srimad Bhagavatam. And this was strongly recommended by Narada Muni to Vyasadeva in one of our wonderful verses in Bhagavatam, 1.5.40, first canto, 5th chapter, 40th verse. Please hear this translation. It is very much relevant to each one of us. And we have to follow this. It says, please therefore describe the Almighty Lord's activities, which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Vedas, for that will satisfy the hankerings of great learned men. At the same time, mitigate the miseries of the masses of common people who are always suffering from material pangs. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries. So instead of wandering here and there in this world or in different planets, it is best that we use this valuable human birth and take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, devotees like Parikshit Maharaj, so many other acharyas, they have shown this is the best way to prepare ourselves for next life. See, when Vidura meets Maitra Muni to hear from him the Bhagavad Dharma, right, that was taught by Lord Krishna to Uddhava, he first inquires in 352. Oh, great sage, everyone in this world engages in fruitive activities to attain happiness. But one finds neither satiation nor the mitigation of distress. On the contrary, one is only aggravated by such activities. So Vidramani is asking, please therefore give us directions on how one should live for real happiness. Question is, Vidura is asking Maitri Muni, how one should live for real happiness. See, throughout Bhagavatam, we find pure devotees are asking similar questions, which are very essential for common people like us. The first question of the sages of Naimisharanya to Suta Goswami, it was, what have you ascertained to be the absolute and ultimate good for the people in general? That was the question, 119. Then in 1937, Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadeva Goswami, you are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons, and especially for one who is about to die. See the questions they are asking not for themselves, for the welfare of all. So we can see that all of them have so much compassion for conditioned souls like us, right? And therefore make such very meaningful inquiries from their spiritual masters so that the whole of human generation is saved. Now, real happiness lies in understanding our insignificant position. We are insignificant. And the magnificent position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then in taking steps to go towards Krishna. All of the efforts that we do to find out happiness, no, it will only result in frustration and disappointment. Srila Prabhupada very nicely mentions in the purport, in illusion, one thinks that he can be happy only by fruitive activities. But what actually happens is that one becomes more and more entangled in the network of action and reaction and does not find any solution to the problems of life. See, because of a great desire to have all happiness in life, we build a house. Unfortunately, the whole scheme is turned to ash because the house may be set on fire, right? This law of nature is like that. I think there was a very nice song, bhajan. Right? So everyone tries to become happy by planning in the material world. But the law of nature is so cruel that it sets fire to one's schemes. The fruitive worker is not happy in his schemes. Nor is there any satiation of his continuous hankering for happiness. In one of his room conversation, Prabhupada very nicely says, it will never be fulfilled. But still, they will make plan. Napoleon made a plan. Hitler made a plan. Churchill made a plan. Gandhi made a plan. Mussolini made a plan. But the plan and plan maker, they are all washed away. But things are going on as it is. Things, therefore, Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Parityajam, 18.66 Bhagavad Gita. Don't make plan. Take to my plan. You will be happy. I will give you. My Guru Maharaj used to say that we may plan our duties. But at the same time, we should expect the unexpected. So this attitude will help us, to accept whatever Krishna plans for us. See, in the year 2000, my Guru Maharaj had a stroke and he was hospitalized in London. But Guru Maharaj was simply meditating on one wonderful verse from Bhagavatam. Completely meditating on the whole time. 4th canto, 20th chapter, 31st verse. Where it says, it's praying, my Lord, due to your illusory energy, all living beings in this middle world have forgotten their real constitutional position. And out of ignorance, they are always desirous of material happiness in the form of society, friendship, and love. Therefore, please do not ask me to take some material benefits from you. See, very nice things. Please do not ask me to take some material benefits from you. But as a father, not waiting for the son's demand, does everything for the benefit of the son. Please bestow upon me whatever you think best for me. It's a very beautiful prayer, no? So he waited patiently to see what was Krishna's plan and wholeheartedly accepted it. Because he did not want to impose his plan on Krishna. That's what all the acharyas do. They don't impose their plans on Krishna. They only wait Krishna's plan and accept it. See, always they made the best use of all available time in releasing Srimad Bhagavatam and distributing to all. He said that this 1540, this verse in Bhagavatam, is a key to real happiness. And he also insisted that every one of us to learn the shloka, word-to-word meaning, and the translations by heart. Tvamapyadabra shrutavishrutam vibho samapyate yena vidam bubhusitam prakyahi dukkher murarditananam sanklesh nirvanamushanti nanyata. Please therefore describe the Almighty Lord's activities, which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Vedas, for that will satisfy the hankerings of great learned men. At the same time, mitigate the miseries of the masses of common people who are always suffering from material pangs. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada's wonderful translation, right? So we should practice this verse in our lives. Because at the same time, we have to see, we have to mitigate the miseries of the masses of common people, right? Who are always suffering from the material pangs. So in this verse, Shruta means Vedic literature. Shruti means by hearing they remembered. This is Shruti. See, there was no writing in the beginning. Father repeated, son learnt. By hearing, they learnt. So that is Shruta, Vedic literature. Krishna told and Brahma learnt. So hearing through the heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaya, the first verse in Bhagavatam. So this is how the whole tradition was that. Father was reciting, his son was learning. Then that son became father and he recited and his son learnt. Right? So that's why Vedic literature are known as Shruti. By only hearing they learnt. So this 1540 should never be forgotten. So whenever you learn any words from Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, right? You have to learn the Sanskrit first. Those who don't know Sanskrit, that's why Prabhupada has given it in English also. So you can. So your tongue should be habituated to recite these shlokas. So as soon as the verses are there, the translation will be very easy. The common people, they don't understand the verses. But the sound vibration is non-different from Krishna. So the verses must be pronounced nicely so that common people could hear. So this is more serious study of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And in serious study, we don't entertain ourselves by hearing different arguments or different stories. What we do, we put our heads into it, into Srimad Bhagavatam, and try to dig into our own heels. And then we get the realization. So this is the way to make ourselves self-sufficient. We should be completely self-sufficient. Everything is given by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada has done day and night labor for us. Everything is ready. Our laziness is keeping us away from these things. So we have to shed off this laziness. This verse is full of knowledge. That is, we want to mitigate the miseries, right? But we don't know how we can do that. So we have to mitigate your miseries also. We are also miserable, right? So unless you mitigate yourselves, how can you try to help the others? But you have to try to mitigate yourself and then mitigate the miseries of others. So why should we be miserable? Such a wonderful verse is there, right, in Bhagavatam. You know, devotees are always happy. Come what may, they are never morose. The point to understand is, if you are happy, then your health is all right. And those who see, you are also all right. Those who see you, know, because your health is all right because you are happy. So those who see you, they're also all right. And those who don't see you are also all right, okay? Everybody is all right. What else do you want? Honestly, we are miserable by our own attitudes. Just carry Krishna in the form of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and you will never be away from Krishna. This is the best thing we are doing. This is Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, what is Krishna consciousness? Sound vibration itself is Krishna's mercy. See the threefold sufferings, Adhyatmik, Adibhautik, and Adidevik Dukh. Bodily miseries. Other living entities inflict miseries. Providence also creates miseries. So the verse in Bhagavatam 7:15-24 helps us to counteract these miseries. 7:15-24. It counteract these three miseries. By good behavior and freedom from envy. By good behavior and freedom from envy, one should counteract sufferings due to other living entities. By meditation in trance, one should counteract sufferings due to providence. And by practicing Hatha Yoga, Pranayama and so forth, one should counteract suffering due to the body and mind. Similarly, by developing the mode of goodness, especially in regard to eating, one should conquer sleep. So this verse, 7:15-24, in Bhagavatam gives the eternal direction to mitigate the threefold miseries. Otherwise, no other literature in this world has given the solution for these miseries. So that is a speciality, because the root culture comes from the higher souls, right? So you have to learn these verses. These verses are very important. It's 1:5:40 and 7:15-24. Very important because we're all suffering, correct? And we want to mitigate the suffering. But we're not applying the correct medicine. That's why Prabhupada in the translation to verse 1:5:40, he says, indeed, there is no other way to get out of sufferings. And ignorantly, we are trying to follow the other way. So we have to try to preach to the common masses that this is the way to mitigate the sufferings, miseries. From the preaching point of view, it is very important. And apart from preaching, we have to mitigate our miseries also. So this is the way. And the best way to cope with our senses, is to always engage in the study of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. See, Prabhupada, he did not give himself time to think about the senses. This is the way. So in this complex situation of this world, it is difficult to concentrate. But only one thing forces us to concentrate. That is the idea of our death. We must always remember our own death. And that will give us all seriousness to go through these things. See, we all want to get out of the miseries, right? But we don't follow the recipe. We concoct our own things. That's why we are more miserable than what we are. Everybody is suffering from material pangs. See, the description of Krishna's activities can only mitigate the sufferings. So this is the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam. So why should we not continue to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, read Srimad Bhagavatam? Our ignorance stops us. We are ignorant of this conclusion of Bhagavatam, and that's why we are miserable. The material pangs arising out of the threefold miseries can be mitigated by describing the activities of Krishna. Krishna Katha. There is no other way. So this is the conclusion. And this has to be insisted on the minds of the general masses. And how to insist? Unless we take it. So this is the fact, right? So we are all supposed to be learned men, right? We are all supposed to be educated. So what education are we taking? Education is to see that we are doing some service always. Service has got to be done, seva. our own service or anybody else's service. See, we have to always be service minded. That will satisfy the knowledge of great learned men, and at the same time, it will mitigate the miseries of the common people, right? Who are all suffering from mental pangs. And we are also included in it. We are also suffering. Suffering only stops till we describe the activities of Krishna in the form of chanting, reading, or serving. Suffering only stops till we describe the activities of Krishna in the form of chanting, reading, or serving. At the time of service, you don't remember that you're suffering. Suffering is completely mitigated. That is our experience. See, we are all alone here and there is no other entertainment, right? This 1 hour. But still, we are not fed up. This is because of the service. I am doing service by taking, glorifying the Lord through this class. And you're always hearing. So because of the activities regarding Krishna, right? This is because of service. And this knowledge is completely out of the reach of the common people. And our duty is to propagate this one verse only. From our Vedas, we have learned the activities of Lord Krishna. By Prabhupada's mercy, he has shown us all the way to serve the Lord. He has kept the places ready for service. If you want to take advantage of the places provided by Srila Prabhupada, service has got to be rendered. See, whenever you are in the temple, you have to just serve the devotees in the temple. We don't understand this thing and we don't put it into practice. See, forget about even the masses of the common people. We are miserable. So we have to mitigate our own miseries first. That is by going to Bhagavatam, burying ourselves in Bhagavatam. Because we are very much troubled by our senses. The senses are continually troubling us. And that is the greatest suffering we are undergoing. With all the knowledge, nobody could control the senses. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 2.67, Indriyanam icharatam yan mano anu vidhiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayur nayam ivambasi. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away man's intelligence. So we are all struggling with our senses. We are struggling for the tongue, correct? We are struggling for the taking rest. Always we are continuously haunted by the different indriyas. So our knowledge of Krishna, every second of existence is carried away by the wind of sense gratification. And even if one sense is out of control, you lose everything. You lose everything in the sense that you're running after the concoction of that sense and you're neglecting the service. So this is the condition of the miseries. There is no other misery. Our concoctions carry away our intelligence. Our concoctions have no meaning. They're just concoctions. We fall prey to concoctions and neglect the service or half-heartedly do the service. See, either you're serving the family or you're serving yourself or you're working for Krishna. It doesn't matter. Service is always there. So there is no other way to get out of such miseries. There is no other way, Prabhupada says, right? So this is the only way. That's why in the translation, Prabhupada says, indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries. Nastyeva gatiranyatha. This knowledge must be fixed in our mind. Otherwise, we will be lazy. So the 52nd verse, it says, they say, dear queen, you must have worshipped the Supreme Personality Godhead who delivers his devotees from the greatest danger. Persons who constantly meditate upon him surpass the course of birth and death. This perfection is very difficult to achieve. See, constantly meditating. See, those who are trying to meditate on the void, they are in very troublesome condition. Very difficult to achieve success. And that is given in Bhagavad Gita. Meditation always means meditation on Vishnu, Supreme Personality Godhead. So in Satyuga, when all people were virtuous, at that time meditation was recommended. Because their minds were not disturbed and they could sit down peacefully and concentrate their mind on the Lord. That is the process recommended. Kritaya dhyayato Vishnu Tretayam yajato Makhai. That is 12.352 Bhagavatam says. So whatever result was obtained in Satyuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. 4.24 Bhagavad Gita says. In 11:29:15 Bhagavatam, for him who constantly meditates upon my presence within all persons, the bad tendencies of rivalry, envy, abusiveness, along with false ego, are very quickly destroyed. See, we conditioned souls tend to feel rivalry towards our equals, envy towards our superiors, and desire to belittle our subordinates, right? So these contaminated propensities, along with their very basis, false ego, they all can be quickly vanquished by meditating upon Supreme Personality Godhead, right? Within every living being. Prabhupada has beautifully explained in one of the purports in Bhagavad Gita, Darshana Dhyana Samsparsher Matsya Kurma Vihangamaha Swani Apatyani Pushnanti Tataham Api Padmaja. By vision, by meditation, and by touch, only do the fish, the tortoise, and the birds maintain their offspring. Similarly, do I also, O Padmaja. See, the fish brings up its offspring simply by looking at them. The tortoise brings up its offspring simply by meditation. The eggs of the tortoise are laid on the land, and the tortoise meditates on the eggs while in the water. See the power. Similarly, devotees in Krishna consciousness, although far away from the Lord's abode, can elevate himself to that abode simply by thinking of him constantly by engagement in Krishna consciousness. He does not feel the pangs of material miseries. So this state of life is called Brahma Nirvana, or the absence of material miseries due to being constantly immersed in the Supreme. See, just like how in the internet connections, we have different types of connections like dial-up, broadband, satellite connections. We just need to connect to Krishna. The speed will always vary, but the connection should remain intact. So over a period of time, Krishna would upgrade us. At least the first step should be from us, right? Best way is to remember Krishna in everything we do by always chanting the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. See, glorifying the power of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Sutta Goswami in 177, he says, simply by giving oral reception to the Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. See, just like how the dust gets accumulated in our house on a daily basis, our mind is prone to be so many anarthas. So much so, we become spiritually blind and fail to see Krishna, who is very much present within our hearts. So some simple and sublime method to purify ourselves, right, is by simple submissive hearing, our mind and heart should become clear. And thereby Krishna appears immediately to wipe out all anxieties, irrespective of whether it is about the past, present, or future. So regarding the power of hearing, there's a nice story. Once the sage, we came across two baby parrots who had lost their mother in the forest. The sage met two families on the way and requested each one of them to take care of the birds. He gave away the first parrot to a family where the family members were very pious, kind, hospitable, and their house was always filled with transcendental vibrations. So parrot also picked up these good qualities from its master. When the sage visited the family after a few months, even though its master was not present, parrot welcomed the sage in a very hospitable manner. Whereas the other parrot was brought by a dacoit. All day the parrot heard only bad things. So when the sage came to visit it, the bird spoke in a very rude manner. So in spite of being born to the same parents, the birds picked up different traits depending upon what they heard. Our position is also very much similar to the parrot in the story. If we hear about Krishna and his glories, his devotees, his loving kindness to them, we also get purified. Whereas, if we use this valuable gift of hearing in listening to nonsensical things, then not only does our consciousness get affected, but we also become a source of trouble to all the others. See, It's a very nice quote in the Shastras. It says, no one is the cause for our happiness and distress. No one is a cause for our happiness and distress. Only a foolish person thinks that the miseries are given by others. We always enjoy happiness or distress based on our previous karma. So, as long as one is embodied, he has to patiently tolerate the results of his past karma, and by this way, he can get rid of it. Now, Guru Maharaj says, we don't blame the whole world and create more complications. We blame ourselves that my devotional service is less. And that is why this person is behaving like this. He said, please don't blame anybody else. Blame your own selves, and there the material things end. If you go on blaming others, that is carried through. So we don't want to linger around in this material existence, right? We want to cut it. We want to stop it. So this is the best way to stop. See, how to act in the present to avoid the complications of another birth. Prabhupada writes, he performs his present activities in such a way that they produce no reactions. And this is described in Bhagavad Gita 3.9. Yajnatat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If one performs activities for the satisfaction of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Yajna Purusha, his work does not produce reactions. Whereas karmis who act for themselves are bound by the reactions of the work. A liberated person, therefore, does not think about whatever he has ignorantly done in the past. Instead, he acts in such a way that he will not produce another body by fruitive activities. We don't want to be squeezed in the mother's womb because we were once there. So many times we would have been there. And now we are completely fed up of for those 9 months. In one of the classes, Maharaj used to say, if we don't try to escape the next metal body, there is no way, but we have to squeeze. And that is a horrible result. So this knowledge at least scares us the way we are behaving. So this is the real art of living. We should not put us into another womb to suffer the pangs of material existence. See, willingly or unwillingly, if you offer something to Krishna, that will be a permanent credit. Permanent credit. Swalpamapi asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. 2.40 Bhagavad Gita says. It says in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. That's what we saw in the translation of this 52nd verse. Even little done, it can act so nicely that sometimes it can save you from the greatest danger. She's just like Ajamila. See, the story of Ajamila is that he was a son of a Brahmana and he was a very nice boy. He was married. He was acting just like a Brahmana boy. One day he went to collect some flowers and some wood from the forest for his father's worship. His father was worshipping deity and he was helping. So on the path, he saw that one Shudra and his wife, without any shame, they were embracing and kissing. So this young boy became attracted. Therefore, this system, that loving exchange of affairs should not be exhibited on the street. This is not a very civilized form. In India, it is not at all allowed. It is indecent, right? So there is punishment by law. But here the practice is different. Why is it so strict according to Vedic scriptures? Here is the example. A young man was passing and another young man and girl was embracing. Naturally, he became excited. So this kind of embracing and all this on the public is done not by any high class. So he was a Shudra. So this Ajamila was standing there. And the Shudrani, or the Shudra woman, he became excited and he embraced and kissed her and gradually became attracted to her. He left his wife and home and father and mother, became a drunkard, he became everything for that prostitute. At the last moment, when he was old enough, when he could not earn, he could not cheat to bring money, Ajamila was thrown in the street by that woman. Because she was not his legalized wife. She was prostitute, so did not like him. But this Ajamila had a youngest son whose name was Narayana. So when he was in a precarious condition, he was just asking his youngest son, Narayana, my dear boy, please come here. And by reciting this word Narayana, he remembered the same Narayana whom he worshipped in his early age, although he was not calling that Narayana. See, because under the direction of his father as a Brahmana boy, he was being trained to become a devotee of Narayana. But unfortunately, he was misled by a prostitute. But still, he was saved at the last moment. And this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Swalpamasya apiyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. 2.40. So in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. Little advancement of this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So anybody who is chanting Hare Krishna, even for a moment, it will never go in vain. It will act. It will act. And it will act so nicely that sometimes you'll be saved from the greatest danger. So this is the power of this devotional service. You should completely absorb and completely bury in hearing, reading, and as we saw, mitigate our miseries and also help the misery other common people to mitigate their miseries. We'll stop here. Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Tago, Vancha Kalpatarubish Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha, Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo. Ananta Koti Vaishnava. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna, for this opportunity to glorify the Lord. You have anything to say or anything? And go ahead.
Invaluable lessons, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Okay. So let's stop here. Thank you very much for keeping the appointment today for hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, trying to put the lessons, practical points into our daily life. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. We never get tired of this, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Uttam Dhamma Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for valuable lessons. Hare
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. Hare Krishna.